Greetings and welcome to Monday. And while you were resting and relaxing over the weekend, a number of people got a head start on their life and business because they jumped in. Some of them named celebrities, and they've decided, because they have discovered, that if you want to make it in the internet-connected experience economy, you're going to have to get involved in the broadcast experience. And they started doing just what I'm doing, podcasting. And perhaps you need to think about doing the same thing. Hey, this is Stan Houston. This is the Jesus Entrepreneur Experience coming your way from our new subsidiary, What It Takes Radio, which is a part of the Christian Entrepreneur Network. We'll get those things sorted out, but my name is Stan, and I'm a longtime broadcaster, teacher, and business performance coach, and I'm here to help you grow your business. And today I'm going to do just that from a well-known publication, Knowledge at Wharton. We're going to be talking about how storytelling can grow your business. And then because it is Question Week, that's right, Question Week, we'll be answering a few questions about that and asking you to ask a few questions too. That's the agenda for today. The program begins right now. And indeed, we are back. And one of our little, kind of a signature sayings, I hope it's not kind of a smart aleck saying, is, you might learn more here by accident than most places by design. And I kind of borrowed that from a favorite broadcaster one time. Well, one of the things you're going to learn is I discovered from my friend Bob Teedy that this is Question Week. March 10th through the 16th is, the important thing is not to stop questioning. And it's based on the week that Albert Einstein, who just said that. Well, he didn't just say it, but that's what he did say. The important thing is not to stop questioning. And so this week, we're going to do some question talk. I'm going to share with you some good questions and some of the power that can really come to you from learning how to perhaps stop talking, start listening, and then maybe just ask some questions. So that's going to be coming up this week. Leading with questions on this Albert Einstein anniversary of his birth, and it is Question Week. My name is Stan Houston. As I said before, this is the Christian Entrepreneur Network, tcenglobal.org, tcenglobal.org. We're going to have a variety of programs under what we call What It Takes Radio. That's our subsidiary organization, and it is destined, we hope, and designed, we know, to try and help you take a part of the growing broadcast experience podcasting movement. You are going to have to deal with the idea that you will just have to think about and perhaps participate, as many are discovering, in learning how to be a broadcaster, to communicate with people using the broadcasting arts by podcasting. And I've been teaching people how to do that for over 3 decades. So we're going to be teaching you, after we teach you about questioning, how to be a business broadcaster. And everybody has a business. That's right, and that's true. Now, what I'd like to do today is continue with the idea that we had about, in effect, storytelling. And as I pointed out to many of you, that we have a series of 4 coaching videos on the power of storytelling. Why that's the case. Number 2, how to find a good story. Number 3, how stories are elements of deep, deep emotion because they are rescue stories. And then, surprisingly, one of the best ways to overcome objections and to deal with people who don't quite follow or agree with you is not to argue with them or to overcome objections, but, in effect, to just tell stories. Well, this goes back. We've been teaching this for some years. And at that same time, I happened to come across an article called How Storytelling Can Grow a Business. And this goes back about 3 years ago. It's from the Wharton School of Business, the famous, well-known School of Business at the University of Pennsylvania. And it was simply called How Storytelling Can Grow a Business. And what I'd like to do is just take that article and kind of perform it. Maybe that's read it with expression and energy and perhaps a question or comment or two. It's called How Storytelling Can Grow a Business, and it is from a gentleman who is named Carmine Gallo. Carmine Gallo, and he tells a story in his new book, which is now about 3 or 4 years old, The Storyteller's Secret, From TED Speakers to Business Legends, Why Some Ideas Catch On and Others Don't. And so, with your permission and with due regard and a full accreditation to Mr. Gallo, let me just kind of tell you a little bit about the presentation he gave. Carmine says, I've been studying communication for over 25 years, and I was a journalist. I was a CNN journalist for quite a while. Today, I still write for Forbes and Entrepreneur and a bunch of other outlets, and I've appeared at Wharton and Stanford and other business schools as well. And what I keep hearing, over the last few years especially, is this lament that many business students and business professionals cannot communicate as effectively as they should be communicating. Well, what does that mean, to be a better communicator? The word storytelling seems to be coming up time and time again. So I wrote The Storyteller's Secret, not because it's something that I thought was important, because this is what I heard. It's almost like I had to write it, especially when a person like Vinod Khosla, billionaire venture capitalist here in Silicon Valley, where I live, tells me that the biggest problem he sees in that people are fact-telling when they pitch him. They're giving facts and information, and he said, that's enough, Carmine. They have to do storytelling. When Ben Horowitz, co-founder of the Andreessen Horowitz, another big venture capital firm, tells me that the most underrated skill is storytelling. And Richard Branson, who I interviewed, said, entrepreneurs who cannot tell a story will never be successful. At some point, I have to agree that maybe they know something I didn't know and maybe don't. The question from the people at Wharton was, it's not that this is really a new concept, but the key here could be that maybe storytelling at some level and among some people is not viewed as important. Mr. Gallo continues, I think many business professionals today understand that they need to be doing this. They just don't know what it means. Because if you think about it, it is somewhat esoteric or abstract. Storytelling. Storytelling in books. Storytelling in movies. What does that have to do with my next business pitch? At least the folks who listen to your show, they get it. They've heard it. They understand that narrative is important. I'm just not sure they know exactly how to do it. In The Storyteller's Secret, there's a whole chapter on Steve Wynn, the great Las Vegas hotel mogul. And we talk about storytelling in hospitality. Now, here's a guy who has made an incredible success in hospitality. But he said he only discovered in the last 5 years the secret that has changed his business and his life with storytelling. And he means by that, and this is something that applies to all your listeners today, that if you can get all your employees and your management to begin sharing stories of great customer experiences and what that means and how to do those better, that creates more emotional resonance with the people. Now, think about that. Now, Steve Wynn has had a little bit of a rough time, but the truth of what he said is important. And so the people at Wharton continued. That obviously has a positive effect on the back end, where the feeling around the company is much more positive overall. Mr. Gallo continues, "At first I thought that would be hard to find empirically, but as I did my research over the last couple of years, it's actually not. There's plenty of empirical evidence to prove that what you just said, that like storytelling is what Southwest Airlines is all about. As Herb Keller, the founder of Southwest Airlines, who of course has passed on after building a wonderful company, he was a charismatic leader who started the company. They wondered, how do they keep his mission and values alive? And that's even more important today since he's passed on. Those were all about taking care of each other and taking care of the customer and the passenger. So they created what's called a storytelling culture, where every week the HR teams go out and they take videos of real passengers who've had a struggle or maybe almost missed a funeral or a birth or a life-changing event and stuff like that. But they were able to do it because of Southwest. Most of these are heart-wrenching stories. I've seen the videos. They send the videos out constantly every week, and then they try to solicit more employees to be heroes of their own stories. Heroes of their own stories. Wouldn't you like to be a hero? So it's almost like you're taking employees and turning them into company crusaders. That's where you see the profits going up and productivity rising higher and higher employee engagement. But it all starts with narrative and storytelling and getting people immersed in that culture. So we've got Southwest, we've got KPMG, we've got Whole Foods, we've got Apple, now Wynn Resorts. Many of these companies are examples of companies who have a storytelling culture. Just think about that, a storytelling culture. Well, Knowledge at Wharton goes on. The interesting part about that is, realistically, to push that needle doesn't cost a lot. That's the investment people make in themselves and their co-workers. That can be the best way sometimes to make a company's message resound more strongly with consumers. Mr. Carmine Gallo continues, Ritz-Carlton was one of the first to do this, and they've done an extraordinary job of elevating that customer experience to a gold standard. They've been doing storytelling forever. What they did, and this is what I want to tell other companies to copy because it's free, in a Ritz-Carlton hotel, every day, every department meets for 15 minutes. It's a group meeting, and instead of just going over the day's events, here's what the housekeepers need to know about this floor, or whatever, they start telling stories, and they ask the question of the employees. Is there a great customer experience that you've been a part of, that you can share with the rest of us? I was part of one of these. I checked it out. It was really fun. They start sharing stories with one another. And then they start competing for who has the best stories. They get recognized publicly. That was the key. The president of the Ritz-Carlton said, the key is you are recognized publicly for being the hero of your customer's story. Being the hero of your customer's story. Well, what do you think of that? Well, let's just continue a little bit. We'll take a little break, and then we'll come back, and we won't finish the whole deal, but I'll give you enough to know that you should go and read that article and read the book yourself. I'm Stan Houston. This is the Jesus Entrepreneur Experience. Remember, Jesus encourages us to treat every person as if they were the most important person in the world, because that's what He does. I'm Stan Houston, the Jesus Entrepreneur Experience, tcenglobal.org/contribute now. We'd be grateful for your help. We'll be back. And we are back. The story continues. Again, Carmine Gallo, who has written a book called The Storyteller's Secret, and he simply says, storytelling is the way to grow a great business. People at Wharton asked him, when you think of storytelling in general, not in strictly this business sense, it's something that is in most families passed down. Your mom and your dad are going to tell you all kinds of stories over the course of your lives about family members. You think it would be a natural thing for people to just have within them. And Mr. Gallo continues, I think that storytelling is so natural to us, especially in families. That's the way you raise courageous kids. In my opinion, telling stories, epic stories of heroes. I have several examples of people like Malasa Yousafzai, the 18-year-old Nobel Peace Prize winner, who talks specifically in her documentary and in her books about how she got the courage to face her enemies only after spending her entire youth listening to mythical stories of heroes that her father taught her. So we know that storytelling raises people's courage. I think it's just a little more abstract when you begin by saying, well, wait a minute, how does that apply to business? Also, let's not forget that a lot of people don't want to be vulnerable. They don't want to be too transparent. They feel like they're being vulnerable. So when it comes to individual storytelling, one of my biggest suggestions, and this is a hard hurdle for people to get across, is if you've had times of struggle and triumph over adversity in your life, the best thing to do if you really want to engage people is to share these stories. Wow. Now, there's more to the article. If you'd like to get a copy of it, I can share more of it with you. But there you are. And there's more to the story. What is the rest of the story? But the rest of the story is a continual thing. And please look at our 4 videos. I'm going to be bold enough to say that if you see each of those 20 to 25-minute videos, 4 of them, it's about an hour and a half, maybe a little bit more, you will learn more than you ever thought possible about power of stories, how to tell a story, the way stories work, and then how to use them particularly in your business, and in particularly how to overcome objections and to persuade people who may not be ready to do just that. As I often say, the master teacher, Jesus of Nazareth, came into the world and he told stories and he asked questions. And perhaps we should learn from his example. That's something new, maybe brand new, but remember, something new that's worthwhile came always from something that was old. I'm Stan Houston. There is more to the story, and I truly tell you this, Christian entrepreneur. Your leader, your master, told stories, and he asked questions. So what do? We kind of preach sermons and give answers and PowerPoints and presentations. Maybe this is good to know, that you know that on this question week, it's about telling stories and asking questions, and maybe even doing it just like I am on the radio. So we're going to have more of that. Please stay in touch. RadioEdge77@gmail.com. RadioEdge77@gmail.com. tcenglobal.org/contribute now. And we would be grateful. all the best and blessings, and go out there and tell some good stories and listen to a few. I'm Stan. Bye for now.